Hello and welcome to Japanese Craft Beer Reviews. Today we're going to take a look at a beer from a brewery which you may not have heard of, which I haven't actually thought of much in the last several years, but their beers suddenly appeared in the store, like 12 of them, and it was quite a surprise. And that brewery is Doppo Beer in Okayama, which is located in the central part of Japan. Between Osaka and Hiroshima. And it is, the main company is宮下Sake Brewery Company Limited, and they have been producing sake for a long time, since 1915, so over 100 years. And they started producing beer in 1995, and they claim that they are one of the what do they call it? The pioneer of craft Japanese microbrewery. On their website, they claim that they're the 9th micro to open in Japan. That's possible. I really don't know exactly, but around 1994, the tax laws changed, and a lot of people started deciding to open microbreweries at that time. It was called the first wave of Japanese micros. And so in 1995, they opened a brewery in Korakuen, and for naming their brewery, the beer brewery, they've been a sake brewery, of course. For naming the beer brewery, they put out a call for names, and they got 3,000 suggestions, and they chose the name Doppo, and Doppo is these two characters here, and this is the character that's used in the name of the country Germany, Doitsu, and the together they can mean independence, Dokuritsu, Doppo Dokuritsu, and so one of the things was that they were trying to put out German-style beers, and so the Do became an important part of their name, and so 3,000 choices, and they chose that one, and their goal was to brew traditional German-type beers, German-style beers, and if you've been drinking craft beer in Japan for a while, you're probably aware that many of the early craft breweries decided to do German style. So all of them made a Pils, an Alt, maybe a Weizen, something like that. So later craft brewers didn't really stick to that line so much, but early ones did. And in fact, beer was started in Japan, by German breweries. Spring Valley in Yokohama and Sapporo in Hokkaido. So a lot of people, even to this day, still associate beer with Germany. So, but Doppo has been around for a while, and I haven't had any of them for quite a while, so I thought I would give them a go. And we're going to start with several beers. I've got, I think, 10, so I will have a playlist of Doppo beers, so give them a look. And here is another beer from Doppo, and this is called Doppo Imperial Ale. And this is classified on Rate Beer as a strong ale, an American strong ale, and it's 7.5%, and I wish I knew the international bitter units. They don't exactly specify. The due date or best by date for this beer is August 9th of this year, so should be in good condition. These beers again started showing up in the Yamaya chain of liquor stores throughout Japan, and not in every store, but 10, 12 varieties of beer. So I thought I'd try out especially the ones I hadn't had before, including this one. 330 milliliter bottles, so a little bit smaller than the 350 milliliter, which is a normal can size. On Rate Beer, 2 ratings only, and the average was 3.35 out of 5. Not so high, but not so low either. Untapped, there were 150 ratings when I checked, and the rating was, as is typical, a little bit higher than Rate Beer, 3.56 out of 5. This cost 500 yen, and it was the highest priced beer of the lot that they have at at Yamaya stores. 500 yen, probably around, at current rates, maybe around $4 US. So it's classified as an American strong ale, and they used American hops in this. The malt, which is German malt, which I think they use primarily for most of their beers, maybe all of their beers, imported German malt. They specialize in German styles very definitely. But this one is a little bit different, and American hops. So 7.5%, and I've never tried this one before, so we'll give it a go. It's a Friday afternoon here. Just finished work a while back, and it's getting warm. Not as warm as it is in certain parts of the world for sure, but it's up around in the, maybe mid to high 80s, low 90s. So time for a beer. Okay, what do you say? Let's look at this one here. It's kind of like a dark amber color with an off-white head, maybe a finger of foam there. Pretty thick. Okay. This has definitely some fruity hops, kind of very overripe sort of fruitiness. Something like kind of thick apple or pear sort of compote. Not getting the citrusy notes exactly that I should. Maybe some pine. Okay, this does have some strong fruitiness. Again, kind of like overripe stone fruit. And the hops are there. They're kind of minimal. For a strong ale. I'm certainly feeling the alcohol in this. Not really well integrated, the flavors. We get the fruit, and then we get the bitterness, and we kind of experience them separately rather than as a blend. Even in mid-palate and final, they don't really come together well at all. It does have a bit of punch to it at 7.5%, and then maybe that's its major, its charm point or whatever you want to call it. Yeah. Well, unfortunately, yeah, this one doesn't quite do it for me. You may see this if you're in Japan at Yamaya liquor stores. If you want a quick jump of happiness, you can give it a go. Ethyl alcohol. Yeah, Doppo Imperial Ale. I don't recommend it very highly. Strong ale, an American strong ale, 7.5%. And check out the playlist of other Doppo beers I have. And if you see their main core beers, the Pilsner, the Dunkel, and the Schwarz, definitely give those a try. Okay, that's it for today. Take care. Bye-bye.